going on, everybody? Dominic Wendell here with the TSYHM3 podcast, and I'm here with my good friend Jeff Sutherlin. How are you, Jeff?
Good, Dom. How are you?
Oh man, I'm excited to do this. I've been looking forward to this one. So today we're going to be talking about some key topics of what we're seeing with the real estate market as of right now. But before that, we have a big event that we would love to be able to invite you guys to. Jeff, you want to touch on what we have going down on September 9th?
Yeah, September 9th. Essentially, we're going to have an event because culture is built at events. Lives are changed at events. And I always tell everyone in my organization, if you want to be a leader and you want to help lead others, you have to go to events. So we're having a great one. Our organization, otherwise known as Collaborative Realty Group, CRG, we're going to actually have an event on September 9th, and it's going to be at Curtis Johnson's office. Great office, beautiful office. And we will have a limited seating because it's going to be our organization plus our personal guests that we bring in. So if you know someone in our organization, or if you just simply say, hey, I want to learn, because it's going to be inspirational, educational, there's going to be recognition, and we're really going to teach people how to crush the recession. How about that?
Yes, I love it, man. And so I guess the big thing that I'm super excited about with that is just being able to get a whole bunch of very successful people in one room and just put all these minds together. I think that's where you see tremendous growth, especially with the event that I just came back from, MenaceCon. It was just amazing to be able to see how normal these people are, and what the difference is it's all 1%. You know, I think just being able to take massive action on the stuff that you're planning to do and staying true to your daily tasks, that's what's going to make the humongous growth in your business. So the first thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, Jeff, was what is the importance of building a personal brand when you get into real estate? What is that for you?
Yeah, it's a big deal. First of all, if you're working at a big institution, you don't need their brand. I'll be honest with you. What you need is your own personal brand, right? So if you have a strong brand, people will resonate with that. And at the end of the day, what do you stand for, right? And do you differentiate your brand from everyone else?
Exactly.
If you had one thing to tell everybody, what would that one thing be? So I would say lean into that, right? One of the things that I've been saying recently is, I've been in this business 21 years. I survived, not just survived, I thrived through the Great Recession. So I know exactly what you need to do to build your business during a recession. A lot of it's mindset, a lot of it's tactical, a lot of it's grit, but there's a recipe to get through it. So my thing, my big mantra lately that I want to share, my brand is about here. I'm here to help you as an agent get through this market, right? So that's my brand.
No, I love that. And I think the big importance thing, exactly what you were saying, was you don't need the big brand. What you need is what people remember you as. I think, especially since I got into coaching and everything, they were like, what do people know you as? You are somebody who helps them buy and sell real estate. You help them throughout that whole transaction to make sure that their life is as easy as possible.
That's right.
It's a gorgeous process to be able to go through, and I want to make it as easy and enjoyable as possible. And so I think the biggest thing that I really try to hone myself on is giving amazing customer service. You want to be known for that. If you have that in your business, you're going to thrive in this, regardless of if you're going through a recession or not. I think just being able to constantly give value to people for free, that's what they love. Because people don't pay for the value, they pay for the implementation and making their life so much easier. And so once you have that, it just makes everybody's life so much easier.
That's right. Giving things without expecting anything in return, right?
Exactly.
We give things out. We come from contribution in society. If you're coming from contribution, everything always comes around, right? Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll always get what you want, right? And that's been the theme of my career, is I'm just trying to serve and help, and my clients love that. And because of that, I have a good business. You can be the greatest generator of business in the world, but if you can't service those people correctly, that will get around, right? It's a small world.
100%.
So,
and I also think just being able to have that word of mouth, that's one of the best marketing tactics that you can have, is have other people be a walking billboard for you by providing them the best service possible. People are always I heard this once, and people don't remember what you did for them, they remember of how you made them feel.
That's right.
You always want to make sure that your clients are that you make them feel heard, that you make them feel wanted, that you're making sure that you're putting their best interest in your part.
I teach a class, and one of the concepts I teach is MOPFI, MOPFI, make other people feel important.
Yes,
right?
I love that.
What if we all did that? Made other people feel important. Oh my
goodness, we'd all be rich.
Yeah. Right?
Alrighty, so Jeff, what are some ways that homeowners, especially with the recession that we're seeing now, what are some ways homeowners can move forward when they're going to sell their home and make the best decision possible?
Yeah, so right now we're in the middle of a correction. So the biggest question is, are we in a correction or are we at the end of a cycle? You know, we're not predictors. We have no idea what the future holds, but history tells us that we're in a correction. We're obviously not in a bubble. There's nothing that even closely resembles 2009. So right now we're on a trajectory in Phoenix Metro. We're on a trajectory of going down about 10% by the end of the year. That's about 2% every single month for the end of the year. Yep. So if you're a seller, okay, and one of the things I've been teaching sellers is that if you're pricing a little bit too high, you could end up chasing the market downward for several months.
Exactly.
Right? So if you're serious about selling your house, you need to sell it, you want to go under the comparables, and you may take a little bit of a haircut, but it's better than the prices going down 10%. If you're looking at a $500,000 house and the house value goes down $50K, okay, and then it's at $450 on January 1st of next year, and let's say our market goes to normal and we start appreciating it at 4%, and you're at 450,000 appreciating at 4%. I don't know what that is, but I know it's a lot less than a $50,000 loss.
Exactly.
So right now you bite the bullet a little bit, and you still realize, for the most part, most sellers have made a king's ransom in the last few years.
No, honestly.
Right? So there can be a point where you can get greedy and it can end up hurting you. So price it where your agent, where your realtor suggests, and I would suggest making an aggressive price under the comparables, making sure the house is staged properly, and making sure that it looks really good to the public, and you have a great agent that knows how to market it.
Exactly. And I also think that you can either be a victim to the recession or the correction, or you can be something that sets the standard. I think, you know, especially with the market that we saw last year, everything was just so inflated that we had so little of inventory, and that's why everything was going so far over list price. So now all of these prices that people are chasing now, and why they're pricing it so high, is because those were the inflated prices.
Yeah.
Everything has kind of come back down to a homeostasis of where we're sitting, where, you know, there are plenty of houses to go look at now.
Yes.
You don't have to make a split-second decision on writing an offer and everything.
It's kind of refreshing.
Exactly.
You know, we've actually 5 times our inventory in the last like 3.5 months, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Right? We went from a hard seller's market to a balanced market. Last week we were officially in a balanced market, and in some zip codes we're actually in a buyer's market. So what's happening is the consumer public has to catch up. Their minds have to catch up with what's really happening in the market. And an agent, if they're really good, will show you a lot of data and help you make good decisions for your family.
Exactly. And I think being able to also pick an agent who is actually going to come up with a marketing plan for you to sell your home. I'm a firm believer that it's still a great time to sell. I think you can still get really good prices for your home. It just has to be done the correct way. You cannot overprice your home, or else it's going to be sitting there and then you're going to be a victim to the market. Yeah. I also think that being able to make sure that the agent is going to work, like figure out what their whole plan is. You can't just throw your house on the market and expect it to sell over the first weekend. Now we're actually going to have a little bit of patience. Come up with a marketing plan to be able to get that home sold as quickly as possible. So I still think the faster you can get it sold is the more money that you're going to be able to get for it.
Yeah, that's right. I remember back in the days, like in 04 and 05, where I was sitting open houses on real estate owned property.
Yeah.
And see, this is a skills based market. So when you interview a realtor, you have to make sure they understand the skills of selling homes.
Exactly.
You just can't simply put a deal on the multiple listing service. The last few years, let's face it, it's not been too hard to be a realtor, and realtors have made pretty good money. Yeah. Now we're going to see who knows what they're doing, because it's that critical. You hire somebody that understands the tactics to get your house properly marketed, and it's much more than just put it in the MLS.
100%. And so, Jeff, how can home buyers making the transition from sellers to buyers, how can home buyers take advantage of the market's offer?
Yeah, I think we're in a nice window over the next few months before the end of the year. Historically, many times interest rates typically go down in the spring to stimulate sales, and that's historically the case. I happen to think that might be the case again for next year.
Yep.
So let's think about the remaining part of this year. If the market continues to decline to the end of the year, you have an opportunity as a buyer because listings are going up. We are now in the third phase before you start seeing more rapid price declines. The third phase is seller concessions. And now we're seeing like practically 50% of the homes having seller concessions. That's the last and third or final phase before you start seeing more declines in price.
Gosh, that's such good data.
Right, so if you're a buyer, right, there are programs right now. Now this program's not for everyone, but I think it's specifically for the buyer that has good income, a good career, and they're called 2-1 buy downs. And that's an example. Let's say the current rate is like 5.5%, and you choose as a buyer to do the 2-1 buy down. So your rate, you get qualified at, let's say, 5.8. Okay. So the first year you have that loan, you're sitting at 3.8. Okay. You have to qualify at 5.8, but your first year of 12 months is 3.8. The second year is 4.8. So you're getting a big reprieve the first 2 years on that loan with the interest rate being much lower. And then you settle in at the fixed at 5.8 for the duration of the loan. Let's say the market does go down and the interest rates go down quite a bit. You can still refinance. And right now what's happening is the sellers are conceding money to the buyers to help them with their buy downs. So you have the perfect situation here. You get another bite at the apple, I believe, over the next 4 or 5 months before the end of the year. And then I think we'll probably have some normalization in the marketplace. But if you're a buyer, get back in the game and talk to your agent because there's opportunity right now. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. And honestly, you just dropped so many bombs right there. You gave everybody the whole roadmap for success. I love that. And so, Jeff, what are some big things that people can do, especially, agents who are having to make the big transition into their business now? How can they absolutely crush this recession?
Yeah, the way you crush a recession is your success is predicated and it's correlated with the amount of people you talk to every day. Yes. So I try to talk to at least 15 people every day.
The daily task.
Right.
It's the daily
people
task.
That have been my clients, my past clients, my future clients, my sphere of influence, the agents in my organization. I'm communicating at a very, very high rate all day, every day. You're going to have to double your efforts. It doesn't necessarily mean you need a lot of newer tactics. Some do work, but a lot of the old school tactics still work. I still write personal notes every day, right? And those are effective. So people want to know that that you care about their family, right? And I've always said, if you've got a database of like a couple hundred people, how well do you know those families, truly? I mean, if I were to quiz you and bring up a sampling of those 200 families and ask you questions, how well do you know them? And I can guarantee you, if you commit to knowing your families well, knowing your clients well, the results will start to come. It's about care.
100%. I think the biggest thing is being able to find a common ground with people. So then you have something to be able to relate about. And so then that's always going to be at least something of top of mind with them.
Yeah.
I think also a good way to be able to stay in touch with people, if you don't like to, handwrite notes and everything, send out cards. It's a perfect way because then you can just go from people's social media, take off a picture. Maybe they have a dog, maybe they have a whole family, maybe they just went on a big trip or something. You can pull that off and go onto your send out cards. Throw that on a card and send it over to them. That's going to mean the world to them.
Absolutely.
That's actually going to show that you pay attention to the little details in their life.
It's a
That's
lost
what
art.
touches them.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The other thing about a recession is I lived through 2008 and 2009 in the real estate market, and I know exactly what happened. And it was a totally different situation, than this situation today.
Exactly.
Right? We had a total economic lending collapse before. But I will tell you, in order to get through a recession, it's about who you hang around with. It's about your exposure.
Exactly.
It's about your inner circle of people, right? You have to run with people that are at a high level because a rising tide lifts all ships. They will bring you up. So start looking at the people you're hanging around with, and you definitely want to challenge yourself and hang around other people that are going to challenge
Bring
you
you up.
They're going to bring you up,
Yeah.
right? It's about your exposure. It's about your inner circle. I'm always looking at that. Who am I hanging around? Who do I want? Who should I model, right?
And who am I getting the data from?
Right.
That's the other thing. You can't just rely on news articles and all of that stuff. You need to look at the cold hard facts from people who have been doing this from years on out. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. One of my big mistakes, Dom, was my own ego. Yeah. I was literally thinking, gosh, I've been a success in this industry, and my ego was getting in the way. So I wasn't truly submitting to authority. I wasn't following anybody, because in order to be a great leader, you need to be a great follower first.
Exactly. I love this.
And I forgot about that. I was like, man, I need to be a better follower. I need to go back to the basics. Exactly. So I sought out some people that I highly respect, and I said, okay, it's time to be a student again, and then I could grow again. And so when I opened my heart to that and wasn't, thinking about my ego and how great I used to be, that's when things opened up again.
No, exactly. It just opens up to more opportunity for you, because maybe, you get so stuck into the things that you constantly have been doing to be able to be successful, 10 years ago, but times have changed. Everything is so much more different now. And so being able to just open your mind up, that's the thing that I love about hanging out with you, is you teach me so much about what I can improve on. And then likewise, you do the same with me. What can Jeff improve on from Dominic? Yeah. And that's what I love about it so much, is there's just so much collaborative thinking right there. Being able to have people that are constantly challenging you and bringing you up, that's exactly what you need in your circle.
Yeah, and we're missing that in America, right? The missing conversation is worse than the conversation gone bad.
Exactly.
And see, people are afraid to have straight talk anymore. And when you have good relationships and you have that trust, you can talk that way, because we know we care for each other. I want Dom to be successful, so I can tell him exactly how I feel, and vice versa. And coaching goes up and it goes down. It goes both ways, right?
Exactly.
So, and that's the kind of people I want in my life, people that are going to be truthful with me because they care about me. And that's what you're going to get from a great agent. You're going to get it from him for sure.
Well, and I think the true leaders, honestly, are constantly learning as well. They're always trying to master being a student, so then they know exactly what they need to be teaching the students.
That's right.
I think exactly what you said. You have to become a great follower to become a great leader.
Yeah.
No, that's a big one right there.
You're either growing or you're dying.
Exactly. I love that one.
And I always tell people, look at marriages, okay? Why do people get divorced, okay? A lot of answers to that, but I'll tell you essentially why. Gradually over the years, okay, you have a lack of intimacy, even conversational intimacy. You don't talk much anymore. Before you know it, you don't really know that person. So it goes gradually, and then it goes suddenly. And then people look around and go, well, what just happened? It just suddenly fell apart. No, it didn't happen just now. It happened over the last 2 decades.
Exactly.
And that's the way it is in business. It's the way it is with relationships, because the conversation is the relationship, right? So you have to work on the conversation on a daily basis, and you'll uplift everything in your life. So are you really working on that conversation?
Well, and I think that's the big thing, especially with our industry, is our industry is relied on relationships, building relationships constantly, and making sure that you can find that you're not declining over time. I think constantly staying up to date with people and just seeing, just calling and saying, hey, how are you?
That's right.
I haven't talked to you in a while. I just want to just pop in and say, hey, that. And people love that. They love that genuine care that you give them. And I think that's the biggest thing that agents can do right now, is follow up with the people that you have previously done business with. Those are the best pieces of advice I could give anybody, is because those are the people that truly believe in what you have to offer. They know that you genuinely care for their best interest, and they are going to share that with their friends, family, because they know, like, and trust you.
Yeah, you nailed it. I'd say over the last 21 years, I've probably managed, supervised close to 2,000 agents. And I did the math. I think I've overseen over 25,000 transactions. And I can tell you, I can tell you one of the things that agents struggle with the most is follow-up. And they have all these clients that love them, but they don't do a very good job communicating with the people that they've served, and it's really important.
And I think that was one of the big things that I learned from MinusCon as well, was you have all of these people that love you and you did a great job for them, but not being able to stay in contact with them over time. And then when they're ready to go, whether it's selling or buying, and they don't use you, and then you're just sitting over here like, well, why didn't you use me? in my opinion, you didn't deserve to get used.
No.
Because you didn't stay in contact with those people. They forgot who you were. And I think that's, for me personally, that's what I love about leveraging social media.
Yeah.
Constantly posting out what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, how you're helping people, how I help the Johnsons move into their dream home without without selling their current home first. Like, I think being able to show people that and provide as much value as possible, that's what people are going to lean on more, because then they already are starting to get that know, like, and trust factor.
Yes.
Maybe they're not ready to make a move right now, but you constantly pushing on social media and even just shooting them a call, whether it's a call, text, email, anything, just constantly popping up on their feed, that's going to make them remember you.
Yeah.
That's going to make them stay top of mind.
Yeah, if you have somebody in your sphere of influence and they use someone else and you had a relationship with them in the past and you've lost them, it's your fault.
Yeah.
When you
100%.
finally get to the point in life where you own everything, it's actually liberating.
Exactly.
When you're not making excuses, you're not pointing the finger at anyone else. We don't own anybody in this world. They can go use whoever they want. So it's really up to us to keep that going. Total ownership.
I love that. That was mic drop right there. Well, Jeff, that was, like, seriously, this conversation is amazing. Are there any other things that I guess you could give homeowners or home buyers tips on for this market that we're seeing, or even agents?
I would say don't always listen to the mainstream media, because a lot of that is politicized and they're trying to get a response. Go to an agent that understands the market trends, and then look at history, right? What's typically happened in the past. So I would start with that, and don't be in panic. There's opportunities right now, honestly, for both buyers and sellers right now. So just go with an agent that understands the market, the local market. It's very important. And also, first and lastly, is just be positive, because recessions happen. And typically recessions are a lot shorter than bull markets. Bear markets are shorter than bull markets. And we have a lot of good things that we can lean on, but we're going through a season. So stay focused, stay positive, and serve your clients. And if you're a home buyer or seller, keep the faith. We still got a great country, and I'm optimistic. But just go talk to a great agent, and they'll help you.
100%. Well, thank you guys for listening in. Make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the little bell for a notification every time I post. I'm trying to post once or twice a week. So if you have any questions or anything, I'll leave Jeff's contact information down below. So if you want to shoot him a call or something, by all means, feel free. I know he'll take great care of you. But other than that, this is Dominic Wendell with the Sin 3 podcast. Have a good one.